I know we can do this together because I know this. There's nothing beyond our capacity.
Really, who is more stupid? Who is more disabled? Joe Biden? At least Joe Biden has his age. I mean, in fact, well, when he was younger, he was a complete moron too. An abject idiot. But Kamala, good golly, folks. I'll tell you what, it has hit the fan and it's gonna get nasty. Have your preps, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And be sure and have lots of popcorn because this show is going to get entertaining, if nothing else. Now, it's been a head scratcher all day. I mean, I've been like this all day going, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Let's just go down the list, shall we? Get your questions down below. If you're here on the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com, if you're a premium member, only $2 a month, you can be here live Monday through Friday. Now, back in the bunker, good internet reception. Let's talk about what's going on. Downtown Chicago, folks. The DNC convention is coming. All the political bigwigs are going to want to be there. I believe Joe Biden's going to show up, speak a little if he can, and leave before Camel Toes. No, what's her name? Chlamydia? No, it's I think we're going to go with Kamala Harris. Before she gives her acceptance speech, Biden will be out of the building and gone. Did you know, have you realized, did you hear that the National Guard will be deployed to protect the Democrat National Convention from any violence? So they built a wall, a racist wall. They're going to require identification to enter their beautiful function. That's right. So isn't that racist? And then they're going to have National Guard troops to protect them, which they didn't do during the 2020 riots in their cities. But we need to protect these precious fucking Democrats. Good golly, folks. Okay, let's do it. So they have pro-Hamas terrorists have shown up in Chicago. That's right, pro-Hamas. And I happen to have one of their spokespeople right here. Hello, Hamas. Oh, hi. We're ready to try and burn. All righty. Well, good luck, you pig. Okay, so you know what they actually said? They're out there chanting, threatening. Here's their chant. DNC, go home, or we're going to bring the war home. Now, the thing with a clever rhyme is the words sound similar, but they're different words. In this case, the word home rhymes with the word home. So DNC, go home, or we're going to bring the war home. They're now saying the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, pro-terrorist, they're telling the Democrats they're bringing war home. And to borrow a line from the Inglorious Bastards, I will recite a line from that. Oh, we were hoping you'd say that, right? Because it gets a little boring around here. It's going to be one hell of a shit show, folks. It is. It's absolutely going to be awful. And let us continue with the madness that is government. Folks, government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the problem. That is not a Johnism. It's not a prepared mind quote. That's Ronald Reagan. It is. Before Trump is even elected, before Trump even takes office, mass deportations are set to begin. Did you realize that? In the great state, which state is it again? I couldn't remember. Massachusetts, in the great state of Massachusetts, they've decided that being a sanctuary city isn't all it's cracked up to be. So they've realized that the only solution to the problem because they're so inundated with illegals, thousands and thousands and tens of thousands in every city. They said the only thing we can do is deport them. There's no place to put them here. Yet they keep pouring through the borders. The Biden administration is flying them in on an airline called Global X. Global X. Who owns that company? Never heard of Global X before? Could be one of those Area 51 secret government airlines. All right, now let us continue with the left eating the left attacking the left showing us how retarded they are, and just everyday regular people showing us how messed up this whole situation is. The Stephen Smith, who is an ESPN host, he's a very popular speaker, commentator. ESPN, not a political scientist. Stephen Smith, not a political scientist. He's not a rocket scientist. He's a sports analyst. He is saying Kamala Harris is hiding. He's calling her hiding Harris. And this is his quote. He says, it's quote, somebody got to say something, end quote. Yeah. Everyone wants to, where is Kamala Harris? Why is she not speaking? Because she can't, folks. She can't. It is absolutely crazy. The Harris campaign went to a sandwich shop in Pennsylvania. They told all the patrons to leave, kicked them out, and brought in their actors. That's right, brought in their actors. Customers for Kamala, I guess. Well, Kamihala, yeah, look out. She is an absolute racist pig piece of shit, by the way. She is going to have racially segregated meetings at the DNC for Blacks, Hispanics, Asians, and Native Americans. Yep. We can't just let everyone talk together and have a unified solution. They actually don't have any solutions. Folks, they're getting prepared for chaos and stupidity. The mainstream media is starting to choke on camel toes and her stinky pantyhose. They are. I mean, she dropped by a Sheetz gas station and she bought a bag of Doritos all by herself. That was her photo op. Trying to look like a normal human. Bought a bag of Doritos. And all the other people milling around in the store were reporters. Folks, it's turning out to be one of the most asinine campaigns ever. Ever. But guess what? The media, half of them are going to keep portraying her as normal, actually as exceptional. But the other half of the media is starting to turn. The left, of course, as I pointed out earlier with the whole Hamas people chanting shit, the destroyers, right, the thugs of the DNC are going to continue. There is an imminent threat in Chicago, and it is here. The activist group, it looks a lot like Antifa to me, is calling out to, quote, shut down the DNC for Gaza. And they've made a promise. Make 2024 as great as 1968. 1968, Chicago burned. People were murdered. Businesses were destroyed. Homes were destroyed. Lives were destroyed. These people, folks, they're far leftists. They're not far right. They're not conservatives. They're not Trump supporters. They're left-wing morons. And they're there to destroy. And they hate Kamala, folks. Listen to this. The left-wing pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, Antifa, BLM types are walking in circles, carrying banners, chanting, Killer Kamala. That's on the banner. Killer Kamala. Gaza is speaking and asking, how many kids did you kill today? This is the party of joy, right? This is the party of joy. Wasn't Biden supposed to be the candidate of unity? while he attacked Trump and attacked you and me, right? Oh, my patience is wearing thin, and you guys on the far right, you're a threat to democracy, and you're this and you're that, and you're evil, and you're Nazis, and you're white supremacists. But I'm the great uniter. Fucking idiots. The violence is coming, folks. Stand by, folks. Stand by. Now, have you forgotten? Before we get too much further, I want to bring this up. Have you forgotten about Trump's assassination? Well, the attempt, anyways. The bullet went through his ear. The assassination happened. I think the what do you call it? Attention span. The attention span of the media, of the left and of the right, is about 3 days long. So the assassination attempt is still a very real piece of history. There's supposed to be an ongoing investigation, but they they have confirmed that they cooked, they cremated the would-be killer before the investigation was over. They ordered it. Someone in the FBI ordered it. There's tons of confusion, tons of lies. They've destroyed evidence. They've said now 10 rounds were fired, but the government won't tell us how many pieces of brass they have found. The attempt against Trump is going to come again, folks, unless communism with Kamihala is fully exposed and attacked. In fact, the honeymoon for Kamala Harris, the love affair, is already ending. It's already ending. And I'm enjoying the shit out of it. Let me give you an example. There are Democrat delegates out there representing over 750,000 people, voters, in swing states, key swing states. They're refusing to throw their delegation, their support behind Kamala. You want to know why? Because they say that Kamala has failed to meet their demands. I didn't know delegates could tell the candidates what they need to believe and what they need to promise. I pretty much thought that candidates put their views out there and people voted for them. Oh, wait, yeah, silly me. No one ever voted for Kamala Harris. It didn't happen, folks. Didn't happen. Oh, by the way, the Republican Party in the House of Representatives has finally released a statement discussing Joe Biden's impeachment and how he has impeachable offenses. It's only taken 3.5 fucking years, and the old man has relinquished reins on the re-election and is likely to step out of office, Richard Nixon style. It's too late to do anything about all the destruction this old sack of shit has done. Right? The media is now releasing that he's gotten millions and millions and millions of dollars from very unspecified and very, shall we say, unusual places. What an absolute shit show that we're dealing with. It is going to be, shall we say, satanic, pro-death, terrorist-loving, jihadi Joes, and queers. That's what the LGBTQ stands for, the queers, the fruits, the trans. They're on the evil side. It's going to be them versus, well, us. Regular people, agnostics, not atheists, agnostics, meaning those who believe in God, but they don't subscribe to some narrow pointed view where if you don't follow everything they say, you're going to burn in hell, right? But, it's going to be those bad guys versus us, Christians, agnostics, shall we say constitutionalists and patriots. There's going to be one hell of a fight. And so people are picking sides. They're truly picking sides, and they're saying what they believe. And it's finding itself showing up in some very interesting places. For example, an NFL All-Pro player was preaching the gospel live on Fox Sports. How odd is that? Well, expect more oddities as we go, folks. Oddities as we go. Kamala is being called out. Kamala is being called out. Representative Stefanik Elise is saying, hey, the numbers, the statistics, the facts don't lie. Under Trump, women did better. Under Kamala Harris, women are suffering. That's okay. She's supposed to be a black vice president running for president, but, well, she kept black men in prison. She convicted and sought the conviction of black men for, shall we say, false charges. She also wanted black men to die in execution that she cackled and laughed about, literally tried denying the man his rights in court, and eventually was exonerated by DNA evidence. Kamala Harris is disastrous for blacks. She's disastrous for women. She's disastrous for white people, everyone. She is a fucking walking disaster. And the topic of her, what is her problem? You see, everyone, think about Kamala Harris and her word salad that we've been trying to quote for years. Even comedians are having a hard time sounding as dumb as she is, even though you would think that as comedians and having a firm grasp on comedy, they wouldn't have any problem. But she sounds that awful. So is she on drugs? Is she drunk off her ass? Or is Kamala Harris just that dumb? You know what I'm going to do? I've heard the accusation that she's drunk, and I'm not going to let that excuse fly. Not going to let it fly. I really think she's that fucking stupid. She is. She's revealed her plans, her agenda for America, and it's communist. It is Marxist. It is beyond socialism. And it is a plan, it is a platform of absolute destruction of this nation. And it's scaring even the media, folks. It is. It's scaring the media. Woo! I tell you, it's going to come, folks. They are pushing and pushing and pushing. And the Democrats are continuing to show us that they are absolutely awful, evil people. Mitch McConnell, the Rhino Republicans, absolutely awful, awful people. Washington is full of bureaucrats and elected officials and appointed officials who are just fucking awful. Mitch McConnell, apparently, he waited until, I think, election machine manufacturers, I think he waited until they donated to his campaign, and then he voted against. I read this and I couldn't believe it. I read it on Twitter. He voted against fixing the election machines, fixing our elections, reforming our elections. And I got another one. In Washington, D.C., that's right, the nation's capital, a Democrat councilman. He's been arrested on federal bribery charges. Oh, he's got beautiful, long, sleek black dreadlocks. Looks like a very intelligent young man. He's a fucking scumbag. Dresses nice, got a great suit. But he's a fucking scumbag. These politicians in D.C., folks, are scumbags. I don't know what this guy did to get arrested and charged, right, with bribery criminal charges. He must have done something so bad that even the Democrats are like, dude, we can't ignore this. You're going to jail. Can you imagine that? Unbelievable. Now, this is a story that I've got here, and I have not opened it until now because I wanted to share it with you basically live. Right? Republican Representative Lauren Boebert right? One of the America First patriot types. Well, she hasn't done everything exactly the way I would like her to do it, and she gets criticized for what? Playing with a Democrat's dick at a concert or a theater? What the fuck is she thinking? Anyways, she's basically issued a warning about Judge Merchan and wanting to throw him behind bars. She says, quote, "There is no rest for the wicked. This is a battle between good and evil." I agree. I just, if that's the case, if they know in Washington, D.C., there's a battle between good and evil, why are they fucking around with these people? Why are they playing games? I agree. It's a battle between good and evil, between communism and a constitutional republic. I believe that this is our last hope and last chance. Yet Republicans in Congress have done absolutely nothing to Joe Biden. They've allowed maggot Mike Johnson to continue to be speaker after Kevin McCarthy showed us he's a sack of shit and they got rid of him. Why the fuck has Matt Gaetz not gone after maggot Mike Johnson? I think it'd be better to absolutely crap all over Joe Biden as he's leaving office. At the very least, impeach the fucker. Soil his fucking name and reputation after he has soiled America, soiled you, soiled me, fucked us all over with taxes. It's just there's gonna have to be an end to this, folks. There's gonna have to be an end to this. I've got a great story. When I first read it, I thought, hey, this is good news. This is good news. I got to tell everybody, because in Georgia, the election board has a new rule that requires precincts to compare their ballots with voter IDs. Counties must withhold certification until fraud is addressed. Well, there's one problem with this. How do you enforce it? There's already rules in this country against having communists here. Yet the presidential nominee for the Democrat Party is proposing communist principles and practices, while there are millions of illegal immigrants here waiting to be turned loose as terrorists against us. Right? They're not enforcing the current laws, so they have a new law, a new rule requiring ballots and voter IDs to be compared. We used to have an election, and by the end of the night, we had our answers. You had to register ahead of time. None of this same-day registration shit. Your name had to be registered with the county registrar, right, the registrar's office, and you show up to vote, and you produce an ID. It's compared to the chart that they have with all the names on it. They say, aha, here is your ballot. You produced an ID, you were registered ahead of time, they knew you were coming, and you could only vote once. And then they'd count the votes and be done in a matter of hours. Not now, folks. Not now. No. I've got a couple screwball stories to tell you. Right? There's a U-Haul moving truck parked outside the White House. Does that mean Joe Biden's packing his shit up in a fucking U-Haul? Really? He's going to give a farewell address and drive off. Why not get like an old clunker and look like the Beverly Hillbillies, Jethro at the wheel? And speaking of comedy, Senator John Festerman, right? Fetterman, who looks like Uncle Fester, he's chosen a side. I think his brain damage has been reversed enough that he can be a rhino Republican now. He is not, I repeat, not going to go to the DNC convention in Chicago. They're speculating it's because he's pro-Israel, or maybe he's just realized he's not a communist. Unbelievable. And Also, Kevin O'Leary. I think he's from Shark Tank. He's an entertainer like Trump, but he's also got a huge economic opinion, right? You don't become a millionaire or billionaire by being retarded. In any event, he says, hey, we're all shocked. We can't believe this is the platform. And he's speaking of, well, Kami Hala's, her platform, her proposals, her agenda. It's pretty much crazy, folks. It's pretty much crazy what is going on. Just the stupid. And I want to tell everyone, I saw this, I think 2 days ago. 2 days ago, the former National Institutes of Health head, Francis Collins, who is good buddies and works with none other than Dr. Doom himself, Anthony Fauci. He thought he was having a fan meet him because someone walked up to his table at a restaurant and asked who he was, and he thought that he was being recognized like a celebrity. Well, this man on the street confronted him and told him, quote, you and Fauci, quote, deserve to be in prison for the rest of your lives. He shamed him publicly. Fascinating. Francis Collins's wife, her mouth literally hung open in surprise. It was quite enjoyable. Quite enjoyable indeed. I'm telling you, folks, it's going to get crazy as the violence breaks out in Chicago. What a show. What an absolute shit show on this Monday. I'm going to pull up here, get your questions down below to Mr. Ooman. There's going to be a lot more happening, folks. A lot more is coming. And I'm going to switch over to you. Let's do the inner circle. And we're back. If you are on the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com and you paid the premium $2 whole a month to support the channel, what we do, how we keep you updated, aware, informed to see what's coming at you so you can be prepared with everything to understand who the enemy is, what is happening, and the danger levels. You can go there, sign up, and then you can be here live. Mr. Ooman, we got a great audience today. What do we have for questions? And Ooman wants to start. That would be moderator's privilege he just pulled. Is that white privilege or just moderator's privilege? Hard to say. Hard to say. He says the mainstream media coverage all seem to be the same shots and camera angles. He's talking about, news about the Democrat National Convention is extremely scarce on both mainstream media and alternative media, which is social media broadcasters. Ooman says the few live streamers I found today had such bad reception, they couldn't keep a low-quality bitrate video going. Well, I'll tell you what, Ooman, I've been having that kind of trouble doing my Zero Dark 30 broadcasts. Used to be no problem. Middle of the night, no one's on. I've got great signal going out to cell towers. As of late, as everyone knows, I'm doing Zero Dark and the fucking sun is up, right? Or not at all, because I can't get enough bandwidth. I thought 5G was going to solve all our problems. I thought Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were going to bring high-speed internet to the rural world. Well, it didn't happen. In fact, it's getting worse. I think, Mr. Ooman, call me crazy, call me nutty, call me kooky, call me a conspiracy theorist. The moon landing was fake. You think so, Mr. Fish? Right. I think they're actually intentionally, slowly cranking down our internet access and capability. And it just seems to make perfect sense for your story. The alternative media can't get a signal out. So all of the live streamers are having to use ABC feed or NBC's feed or a Fox feed. There's not many to choose from. Because why? because they want us to see what they want us to see. They, meaning the mainstream media, the politicians. They don't want us to see behind the scenes, behind the curtain. They don't want you and me and people like us to be filming more of these, shall we say, agents provocateur, or just plain old government terrorists, the FBI, stepping out of vans, right? In fact, several of these protesters, folks, in Chicago, these black-clad Antifa, BLM, queer-type scumbags, right? Or they're Palestinian-type terrorist scumbags. They're entering parking garages that you have to have an FBI key pass to get into. Government, police, law enforcement, federal government key passes. And then they're just coming right out the gate, heading into the protest. Sounds like, well, they could be FBI agents or government agents that are going out, and they're going to do what? The same fucking thing they did in 2020. They're going to provoke fights. They're going to start violence. They're going to encourage all manner of bad behavior, rile up the rest of the anti-fucks. That's right, anti-fucks is anti-fucks. You're going to rile them up. And to what purpose and for what end? Bedlam and chaos, folks. Bedlam and chaos. But what's funny is they can't blame white supremacists, can they? No, they can't do it. They're going to blame you with zero evidence. They're going to blame you and me with evidence to the contrary. They're going to blame Trump as if all these idiots are on Trump's side. Or will the mainstream media actually cover it honestly and go, well, gee whiz, right? Why did Antifa, BLM, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, pro-Palestinians, why didn't they go to the Republican National Convention, Trump's convention, and protest and terrorize and burn and make all sorts of evil promises of destruction? They are scared to death of Trump. They didn't go anywhere near him. They're scared to death of Trump supporters. They're scared to death of people like you. Understand that they're scared to death of you. That's why they don't want to go to Trump rallies. They do not fear Democrats. They don't fear the police because they know who their masters are and they know how weak they are. And I just wanted to say, Dan the man, today I was on the job site and it was really dang hot and sweaty. So I took my shirt off to work and I was told repeatedly by multiple workers, John, you're very large and you're intimidating the smaller people. I think that that these people, these Democrats, these anti-fights, they're intimidated by us. Even if you're not 6'6", 280 pounds. Even if you're not, they're just intimidated. Regular people get intimidated. You and I need to learn to not be intimidated by these people. They're like chihuahuas. They are weak, small, and, well, they're ineffective at what they think they can do, but they bark a lot. They make a lot of noise like chihuahuas. All right, let's move on. Mr. Uman, who do you think ought to step up next? And it's Nancy Keg. I hope you're doing well, Nancy. All is well up there where you're from. She said, I heard that the protesters outnumbered the cops and surrounded them. Heard the police ended up quaking in their boots, as one would say. I have no doubt that the police were quaking in their boots. But there's one difference between American police in any city. There's a difference between American sheriffs and deputies all around the country. There is one huge difference between American police and law enforcement that they don't have in England, where police are being beaten, police are being stabbed, police are being intimidated, police are being overrun and just assaulted, is American police have guns. And they're not afraid to use them. So I understand and I agree and believe you when you say the protesters outnumbered the police. There was a very large police presence that I saw. The bicycle cops cracked me up. Once again, it's like handing someone a bunch of wet pasta and telling him to go hammer nails into boards with it. Right? The bikes, wow. But there were other uniformed CPD around there, and they may be outnumbered, but there's a lot more ammunition on those cops than there are protesters. I'm telling you what, Nancy, I would like to see exactly how far the protesters are willing to go to give me and you, all of us, an idea so we can see exactly how far they're going to come at us. I want to see how brave these fuckers are. Right? It should be okay. Right? The Vikings would say, hey, look, the best way and only way that a Viking can die is to die in battle. Then you go to Valhalla, right? So if they believe that, and if these Jihad Joe jackasses, that's what I think of them, if they are supposed to go to some sort of Islamic heaven when they die and get their virgins, why the fuck do they not throw themselves into the teeth of the machine, martyr themselves, and guarantee that while they fight police to the death, they're going to go to heaven and get everything they ever dreamed of? I'm surprised they don't do that. I mean, the Vikings would. They'd hop out of their boats, grab their wooden shields, grab a short sword, and just start mauling and killing or getting killed because they didn't fear anything. But I guess maybe, just maybe, these pro-Palestinian, pro-terrorist types don't really believe what they believe or proclaim to believe. Thank you very much, Nancy. Thank you. One second. And there we go. Okay. Woo! Mr. Ooman, who is next? We got Mr. Diving Frog, and he says, John, did you see where Sweden has a verified case of fruity primate pox? And Justin Trudeau in Canada said there will be an outbreak before the year's end, but we don't know what it is. Oh, yeah. We're going to have a breakout. There's going to be a pandemic. Really, we promise. I'll tell you what. They made a discovery. You won't hear doctors talking about it, but one of the side effects of the Jim Jones juice is to break out in a rash, a monkeypox type rash. It's an autoimmune response of the body. As the shall we say, Jim Jones juice destroys your immune system, you start to get this monkeypox rash. And it can be spread as well by other monkeypoxers, Mpox, or other people who have gotten the Jim Jones juice. And it's funny, though, isn't it? Why did they, last time they started talking about this, we started discovering homosexuals with monkeypox. Well, their dogs also had it, and so did their children. And people started asking, well, how the fuck did the dog and the children get it if it can only be passed through sex? There's all kinds of problems, folks. There's all kinds of problems with what's going on. They called it now the Jim Jones juice is causing turbo cancer. I'm not a oncologist, a cancer doctor. I can't say if that's true or not. I'm not a virologist, so I can't say if the monkeypox actually is a side effect of the Jim Jones juice, but doctors are saying it. In fact, Health departments around the world are making that proclamation, not just in the United States of America, but around the world. They are now investigating, going, wait a minute, we're seeing a lot more downstream side effects of the Jim Jones juice. But the National Institutes of Health, the CDC, and the World Health Organization are trying to make it sound like it's something completely different. That monkeypox is its own outbreak. Well, it's an outbreak amongst the vaccinated folks. And it spread most easily and causes, through the gay community. Well, I'm not gay, so I feel pretty safe. I didn't get the Jim Jones juice. I feel very safe. I pray that you folks don't get monkeypox or any of the symptoms or any of that shit. And certainly I hope that you don't buy the next round of lies. And I will be out there 100% armed to the teeth in the great state of Florida if anyone tries locking us down and telling us that we have to go get a vaccination for something that we don't need a vaccination for. And the vaccination, it has nothing to do with a cure for anything, but rather it is the disease. Thank you, Mr. Diving Frog. I feel strongly about everything I talk about on here, folks. I feel very strongly about everything. This is life or death. It's no longer a fucking joke. It's no longer, well, that's happening in another country. It's happening in a third world country. The Democrats, the Rhino Republicans, the banks, the corporations, they have made America into a shithole, and they want to take it all the way down so it becomes a third world shithole. I don't like it a bit. I really don't. They want to take food away. Folks, studies and reports have come out that said cows, follow me here, cows are carbon negative. They don't produce methane and carbon as a negative. They actually reduce carbon. They're carbon negative. They're good for the environment. We should have more cows. And so you're asking yourself, John, how can that be? Didn't the scientists tell us? Didn't the health experts explain it? Didn't the climatologists convince you? Didn't all the activists stopping traffic really persuade the way you think? The answer is fuck no. No. So how does a cow become carbon negative? Well, you see, what the cow does is the cow eats the grass, which has carbon in it. And while the cow does fart some, it converts that carbon into meat, because we are carbon-based life forms on this whole planet. Cows turn grass into meat. They fart a little, but it's a lot less than if that grass stayed on the ground and rotted and released 100% of its carbon and carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide and other hydrocarbons, greenhouse gases. So basically, it is a living planet that releases carbon dioxide, monoxide, and methanes into the air. And it is other plants and animals that make them go away. I think there was a cartoon that had this, Mr. Uman, as a kind of a Hakuna Matata, the circle of life. I think that's how that shit works. The world managed to live with tiny animals and big giant motherfucking dinosaurs eating vegetation and eating each other. So why now all of a sudden are cows bad? Oh, because it's a political agenda. Has nothing to do with science. Nothing to do with science. It's an agenda. Okay, let us roll on, Mr. Uman. I know I kind of take us down a few tangents. And we've got Charlanator back in the house. She says, hubby mentioned to me the tampons in the boys' bathrooms in Minnesota schools. I told him they will need them when they get their faces beat and get bloody noses. Wow. So in Minnesota, the Democrat vice presidential nominee is Governor Twinkle Toes Tampon Timmy Walls, who once again today was introduced as a command sergeant major at a Democrat fundraising function. There was no correction made. He did not stand up and say, hey, I was not a command sergeant major. He didn't say, hey, we need to stop using that. He didn't say, hey, that's stolen valor. I shouldn't do that. He is not stopping it one bit. He believes the media is going to continue to run cover for him, allow him to lie, allow crime to be committed. I believe that as soon as Trump wins, one of the first things he needs to do, one of the very first things he needs to do, and there's a lot of first things he needs to do, is direct the Attorney General's office and the Department of Justice to go arrest Tampon Timmy, who put tampons in boys' bathrooms. Boys do not menstruate. Boys do not have vaginas. Boys don't need tampons unless they do cause fights, and then they can stick them up their nose to help stop the bleeding. But I'll tell you what, the soy boy, tampon boys that are out there, they're not going to fight. They're cowardly pussies. But the most fighting they'll do is if they want to go fight girls. And that is a whole other story. Okay, Mr. Ooman, how we doing, man? How are we doing? We got lots to do here, lots to do. All right. Good golly, all kinds of shit going on. Chin Music steps into the house. Where you been, man? I've been waiting on you. He says, walking down the street carrying a sign that Trump and Vance are weird. Right next to women dressed as abortion pills carrying rainbow flags and a guy wearing a mask playing a banjo. Laughing my motherfucking ass off at the irony. Yes. I don't, this claim that Trump is weird or vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance, Senator Vance is weird is just retarded. And being weird, let's just assume for a second that those two guys are weird without me running to their defense. How bad is weird? Now, let's compare weird to what the Democrats are. Trump and Vance are weird. Democrats are pedophile protectors. Democrats want to groom children for sexual toys. Democrats want drag queens exposing their genitals to children and adults and to walk around the streets half naked or more. Democrats want to leave the border open to allow millions of undocumented illegals, all about the same age as terrorists in the Middle East, fighting terrorists, into our country. They want to destroy our military. I'm out of fingers on this hand, but Trump is weird. These people are perverted fucking enemies of the state. They're destructive to no limit. No amount of destruction is too much for them. Burning, looting, and murdering in 2020. Raping, literally, women and raping businesses and raping the people. That's just fine. But Trump is weird. Yeah, crazy. Women dressed as abortion pills. Oh, by the way, if you want, there is a van coming to Chicago, and it's a mobile abortion van, so that anyone who's going to the DNC event, anyone in the basic area, you can go get an abortion for free right there. Planned Parenthood. You're rolling a van in, and if you're a man, you can go get a vasectomy. Great. Democrat men, go sterilize yourselves, you dumb fucks. Great. Abortions, oh, that's just wonderful. These people are sick. There was a video released today, and it was a high quality sonogram of a fetus, a baby that was developing inside its mother's womb, inside her tummy, if you will. And while the sonogram was being done, the where they put the little stick with the little goo and they Ride that over the woman's belly so they can see the baby inside, hear the heartbeat, take a look at things, right? The father was talking to the tummy, to the baby through the tummy, and the baby smiled. Got a smile on its face. An unborn child is happy. It finds humor, comfort, pleasure, satisfaction, even before it's born. I found that remarkable and beautiful. And folks, 20 years ago, there was a picture that was released, not a video, but a picture. And it was an unborn baby. And the mother required surgery, or the baby required surgery. So they had to open up the womb where the fetus was developing. And it put its hand out and grabbed on to, I think, a surgeon's finger. And the Democrats went nuts because that was a baby that they were showing is developing. They want to call it tissue. It's not tissue. It's a human being. And it can't wait to be born and to meet its parents. And these people want to kill them. It breaks my heart and it makes me sick because they're all Democrats. They're the cult of death. But try and find that story if you can. It's out there. It's circulating in Instagram and Twitter or X. It's circulating through Facebook until they pull it off. It's circulating through the news. It's circulating on YouTube probably now. Life is precious. Life is important. And what are the Democrats doing? They're pushing a drug, the Jim Jones juice, which not only gives people monkeypox, destroys their immune systems, gives them clots, heart attacks, pulmonary problems, neurological issues, brain seizures. It also causes sterility in men and women. And Democrats love it. They absolutely love it. Tell you what, Democrats, go get yourself a monkeypox vax. It's going to do you a lot of good, I promise. Kevin Stroman checks in. And he says, you never hear about some redneck running farm equipment into the donkeypox crowds. Why is that? Well, it's because rednecks, as redneck as they are, as countrified as they are, as grounded as they are, they're not evil fuckers. They're not. Now, the donkeypox crowds, that would be Democrats or donkeys, and the pucks crowd are, of course, the LGBTQ flaggots and queers, right? You don't hear about them running their equipment into these crowds and killing them because, well, we're at war, Mr. Stroman. We're at war, but it's not a violent war. It is a psychological war at this time. It is. It's a war for the hearts and minds of the people. And guess who is winning the war for hearts and minds? That would be patriotic Republicans, Trump, Vance, as weird as they are, right? They're winning over Black Americans. They're winning over white Americans. Hell, they're even winning over the Swifties. That's right. The little idiotic girls in their early 20s are now going, yay, we're for Trump. So yeah, rednecks, gotta love them. Hicks, gotta love them, right? Hillbillies, gotta love them. Swamp billies down here in Florida, gotta love them. But they're not evil bastards. Now, let us just say that the donkeypox crowd, who has been threatening violence, they start becoming violent, then people will have to protect themselves. And I think it's probably, if there's going to be a defense out there that is put up that will use violence to stop violence, it'll probably be the rednecks. It'll probably be country folk coming to join to help their, shall we say, urban brethren fight back against the foreign terrorists that Kamala Harris has brought into our country. I mean, do you guys actually sit around and think in your head? Let's see. Kamala is a communist. We've learned that now. There's no fucking doubts. Kamala was the border czar. And she's responsible for doing absolutely fucking nothing at the border to stop the influx of illegal criminal gangs. Kamala's a communist. She's running for president. She's brought in all these evil people. And what she's going to want is them to go hog fucking wild and cause violence, terrorize, intimidate, murder, death, kill. Just like Hitler did in the 1930s. Just like Lenin did in Russia in the teens, the 1900 teens, and into the 20s. They terrorized the fuck out of everyone. Just like Chairman Mao used youthful, radicalized students in China to push his color revolution. The leader comes in, pretends to be in charge, turns loose their radical elements, and they need a lot of them to make it work. Can't do it with 5 or 6. They couldn't do it in 2020. They could do a lot of damage, but they couldn't take over the country. Now they have 20 million illegal immigrants. 20 million illegal immigrants. And if just 5% of them, 5%, folks, of 20 million illegals want to be violent, that is 1 million men in a violent terrorist organization spread throughout this country. Are you prepared to deal with them? I sure hope you are. Mr. Uman, do you have any parting thoughts? Another shot? Yes, we're going to end up with this. We're going to end with the Charlanator who stepped up for her second shot. She says, we see Trump's family supporting him running for president. Nothing from Kamala's family. Is it Kamala or is it Kamila or is it which one is it, Uman? Okay, it's all of those things. So yeah, Trump's family supports him. Well, I think he's got either a daughter or a niece or a cousin who doesn't like him. But Kamala's family, well, I mean, there is her husband. And then there's her stepdaughter, who's a complete unshaven idiot. She seems to be having her own little 15 minutes of fame, but she's not out there campaigning for her mother. I don't think Kamala Harris, I don't think she has had any children of her own. I guess the seed that's found its way into her womb has landed on barren rocks. So, trying to hide the Jewish husband. Here we go. Every time I start talking about boxing, some white man's got to bring out the jokes. All right. So, yeah, where's her family? Where's her dad, a communist? Where's her mom, a Hindi? Right? Her dad is, and someone the other day said, John, you're afraid to say he's white. Which dad are we talking about? I've seen a picture of her dad that's white. I've seen a picture of her dad with an afro. But she doesn't claim to be black. She claims to be Indian. Her dad was Jamaican, after, I don't know, 10 generations of living in Jamaica. I think you're Jamaican. What his race is, though, he looked white to me. But yeah, her family is not black. So yeah, her family is staying out of the limelight. And she married a Jewish dude who's got a Jewish American princess idiot daughter. Look out, folks. It's hit the fan and it's not going to get better. Let's do this. Let's check out. I'll be back. Well, hopefully 0 dark 30. Unless both Chicago and Florida continue to have, 5G bandwidth problems. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Godspeed to America. Get prepared. It is coming.